Welcome back to Home Track Heroes right here on CW11 out of Evergreen Speedway. And this next segment is brought to you by Speedway Chevrolet. Visit Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center in Monroe for customized trucks, lifted trucks, work trucks, and Speedway Chevrolet. They can also locate the truck that fits you best. Speedway Chevrolet and RV Center also wants your trade, will buy or consign your vehicle or RV and take the hassle out of selling it on your own.
There you go. Speedway Chevrolet bringing you the Pro Late models here at Evergreen Speedway for this season and many seasons in the past, and hopefully a lot of seasons to come. They really know a great division to get behind. Okay, let's kind of reset as we've got 56 laps to go, 75 laps make up the A-main event for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late models. You can see up front it is Greg Bennett and Naima Lang. Then we go back to row number 2, Chad Fitzpatrick in the 12, Dawson Cox in the 7D outside second row. Then we go back to Haley Constance, who's having a great run in the number 78 Joe's Racing Products car. Outside of Haley is the number 9 car of Caden Holm. We haven't had a chance to talk about Caden Holm tonight, but he's been in there still keeping in the mid-pack, and Wyatt Gardner is still in this one. Hannah Lindquist in the 3H, Rob Dees in the 91. And we'll get you that last one as they come across. Just can't quite. Wyatt Gardner's still in this one. Wyatt started out on the front row, but something was up with that number 3 Wyatt Gardner machine, and it just wasn't running the way he wanted it to. Okay, we are back underway, and look at Naima Lang. Holy smokes, how about fitting right about where you could put a piece of paper on the bumper to pick your bumper. That was really well done. That's how a veteran moves it right there. And look at Dawson Cox taking advantage of that as he squirts underneath the 12 of Chad Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is a really great run coming off the high side of turn 4.
And there goes Naima Lang in the 18 car out of turn number 2 down the backstretch. Now we see going side by side with the 98 of Greg Bennett as they come into turn number 3. Like you said, Steve, that was such a textbook move. Naima Lang had to slow down a little bit to cut in front of the 12 of Chad Fitzpatrick, then able to get behind the 98 of Greg Bennett. And now we see Naima Lang passing by on the outside of the 98 of Greg Bennett. In third, we're looking right now at the 12 of Chad Fitzpatrick and the 7D of Dawson Cox. But Naima Lang just kind of in one of those spots that he's pretty used to being in out in first.
Naima was the definition of experience and trust in that move. He knew exactly how long his race car is. He somehow knew how much space he had between the 12 and the 98, and that's where it went. And that was really an impressive move by the driver of the number 18, Naima Lang, now as he has got the clean air in front of him. And this does make a difference. Clean air on the nose and the hoods of these cars really make a big difference. We kind of joke around a bit, say like on a Stinger 8 figure 8 race, just to kind of make ourselves yuck a little bit. But aerodynamics plays a huge role in these Pro 8 models.
So here we see a continuation of the great battle between the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick and the 7D of Dawson Cox. But there also we see the 78 of Haley Constance. So Haley having a great start to this race, still hanging in tough there in 5th. And you had mentioned earlier the 9K of Caden Holm. I think Caden's right behind Haley, so that'll be kind of fun to see the two of them battle it out as well.
Well, let's go back up front and look at the 18 of Naima Lang. Got really close to the wall that time. They all do. It's just kind of not an optical illusion, but the way the camera is placed. But boy, they do get sometimes uncomfortably close, as we saw the 25 do early on in this race. We are at 48 laps to go, and back up front, Naima Lang just probably picking up about a half of a tenth, maybe a tenth of a second every lap. Just gradually pulling away from Greg Bennett's number 98, the only Camaro in the field besides the Speedway Chevrolet pace car. But that car just looks so sharp. And him and his son Doug, they do the majority of the work. They've got a great crew on that 98 car. But man, what a great father-son project that thing is. And it's so fun. They just have such a great time working on that thing, and it shows. So let's talk about Rob Dees in the 91 and Hannah Lindquist in the number 3. And one of them deals too where it's just every lap just helps them as we get picking up there. There's a good shot of Wyatt Gardner in his number 3 car as he comes out of turn 2 and down the back stretch. Meanwhile, back up front still Naima Lang, Greg Bennett, and Chad Fitzpatrick is kind of gives some of the guys in the back a little bit of love here on the screen.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to see. And the last time we saw Nema Lang come by, Greg Bennett still kind of hanging in tough there, but you started to see the distance between Greg Bennett and the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick. So I think it'd be great to see, we're seeing a lot of single file racing right here as we see there's Rob Dees come by and there's a 3H of Hannah Lindquist as they come through the start-finish line now. 43 laps left remaining. And here we're going to catch back up at the front. There's the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick and the 7D of Dawson Cox as they come through the start-finish line as well. But we're starting to see that gap. You just kind of saw to the corner of your screen there, the 98 of Greg Bennett. So we can kind of see how much distance there is now between Greg Bennett, and now you see it kind of spans out a little bit there too. And there's Greg on the far left-hand side of your screen, and there's Chad Fitzpatrick. And we see that kind of same kind of distance, maybe not as far between the 98 of Greg Bennett and the 18 of Nema Lang.
Chad Fitzpatrick is a very accomplished racer. He has won championships in the quarter midgets when they used to run out at Payne Field. That gives you an idea how long ago that was. Now the WQMA has got just an incredible facility at the west end of the parking lot here at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds. It's always really kind of cool when you come out to the track and you see a whole bunch of motorhomes in that parking lot. If you got a minute, stop by and check those guys out. The WQMA, they have a ton of cars, and it's just, well, you talk about a family project, that is a good one to get into. All right, we are going to be keeping an eye. Chad Fitzpatrick, I'll get back to him in just a second here, but the young man has just won championships in every division he has run. As we see the spin out by Hannah Lindquist. They're right behind the pole in turn 2, so we'll bring it back up above and kind of get things reset. But again, Chad Fitzpatrick, that's another cool part. We talked about Greg Bennett and his son Doug, that family aspect. Chad Fitzpatrick, his dad Sean, his mom, the whole Fitzpatrick clan. They've got a whole section up in the grandstands, the Orange 12s, I think they're called, and just so much support behind that team as we have under 40 laps to go.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of single file racing, but it's been very exciting. I think one of the things that I'm kind of excited watching as we look at this race tonight is the 12 and the 7, right?
Yeah.
Like you were just talking so much about Chad Fitzpatrick, but that's really where a lot of the action has been. And we see Nema Lang and Greg Bennett still kind of battling it out. And if anything, this is a really great opportunity for the 98 car of Greg Bennett as we saw Nema Lang was starting to create a little bit of distance and now brings it back together. We just need to see the 98 car kind of do the same thing that the 18, look at that. I think they were hooked on there together, and a great restart there. We see a good jump by the 98 of Greg Bennett as we are green flag racing once again. But, almost the same move that Nema Lang did where he kind of dropped to the inside and then was able to pass. Here we see kind of the same thing out of Greg Bennett. So not spending too much time on that outside lane, able to jump into the inside lane and get right firmly behind the 18 of Nema Lang.
I would almost bet you that Greg Bennett, if he could have a do-over on that start on lap 39, I bet you he would probably take it, because you saw the 7 of Cox just virtually lift the back end of the 98 up as they were coming out of turn number 2. And I don't think Greg probably wouldn't have been the best time to bring him up over the PA system from his in-car radio at that point. As we see, I believe that was a 25 making its way off the track of Andrew Link. I may be mistaken, but I thought I saw that car going down the backstretch. But boy, I tell you, Nema Lang just on an absolute tear as he is about 10 car lengths out. And this is the third lap since the restart. So this, I think, is going to be kind of a fun race to watch here, the battle for second coming up.
Yeah, we see now right there the 9 of Caden Holmes. So Caden Holmes able to get in front of the 78 of Haley Constance coming around. So talked a little bit about Caden Holmes earlier on, but great to see Caden doing a great job and currently in 5th, so a top 5 so far. But great picture and a great perspective there of the 18 of Nema Lang, and that lead Nema has been able to build just a few laps after the restart here. And 98 of Greg Bennett still doing a great job holding off Dawson Cox in the 7 car, and there's Chad Fitzpatrick in 4th. But really almost just like we have talked a little bit about is single file racing, and where we see that 18 of Nema Lang just thriving.
Yeah, now it's just absolute practice time virtually for Nema in the 18 as he just kind of, like we were talking about earlier, he picks up a half a tenth to a tenth of a second advantage over Greg Bennett in the 98. Dawson Cox still looking pretty sporty, about 5 car lengths back in his Busch Light number 7D car, and Chad Fitzpatrick looking to get into the mix. Really impressed with the run of that 9 car of Caden Holm, who is, again, every lap just another one little file away in the record book is in the experience log, and they all help out.
Yeah, and so 18 of Name Lang, as we kind of continue to see this great shot from over in turn number 1, it just looks like he's on tracks out there, right? He kind of takes the same pathway each time by. He hugs the white line as they go out around turn number 1, out of turn 2, and down the backstretch, but just that same consistent pathway because it's working for him. He's, like you said, just adding a little bit to his lead each lap as they go by. And there's a great shot of the 98 of Greg Bennett starting to put a little bit of distance between himself and the 7D of Dawson Cox. And look at Chad Fitzpatrick. Chad's going to have something to say as they come into turn number 1 here, trying to catch up with that beautiful 7 car of Dawson Cox.
You noticed the lap previous when Chad was coming into turn number 1 from that turn 1 camera shot. As he got back on the gas, a lot of flame. Let's see if he does it here. You can see some flame coming out of the exhaust hole, just right in front of the right rear tire. Not so much this time, but that's just unburnt fuel. And the minute that kind of gets out into the exhaust system and another load comes through, it lights it up. It doesn't hurt anything, but it just kind of looks even cooler when it's really dark.
That's what I was about to say. It looks really cool as they come by down the front stretch.
All right, we are getting to the 26 laps to go next time. A regular Saturday night shootout coming out. Back in the day when we used to run 25-lap main events for these guys, boy, they went by quick, but they had some pretty anxious men and women behind the wheel of those cars back in those days, and those 25 laps could take a long time depending on people's moods. But good-looking shot of the 98, but I like the fact that they're giving these guys a lot of time to stretch them out.
Yeah, and it's really exciting to watch these Pro Late models brought to you by Speedway Chevrolet. So much fun to watch 75 laps, to see some different things develop, and to see some excitement. You know, I know Name Lang is probably the one that doesn't want to see any caution flags go on, because that means they're going to bunch everybody back up again. But it's always fun to kind of see that change in dynamic as we have cautions that come up. We line everybody back up, we go too wide, and it really gives the opportunity to maybe change what could have happened. And as we see now here, they're just really knocking off the laps here as they have 23 laps remaining. That
battle that you see on your screen right now is battle for 7th, with Rob Dees in the 91 occupying that 7th spot, and the 25 of Andrew Link looking for it as we change aspects and get a nice shot of the 18 car as he's just still hitting those same lines in between turns 1 and 2, and rocketing down. Really gets a good run off the top of turn number 2, or the middle part of the turn, I should say. But boy, he's just anywhere he wants to put that 18 is just going forward in a fast, good way.
Like you mentioned too, this perspective out of turn number 1 is really interesting, because we know exactly how fast they're going, and you had mentioned earlier how fun it is to kind of stand down on that front stretch. But you know, hearing these cars come by down the front stretch across the start-finish line, it's so darn impressive to hear how loud they are, but to see how fast they actually go by. I think you almost hurt your neck as you watch as they go from left to right, because it is darn impressive.
Yeah, you learn not to do that after a while, because it makes fun when you finally get home and put your head on the pillow. It kind of takes a while to get off of it. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I couldn't tell you what the exact mile per hour is. We should figure that out one day. I have a hookup on getting that kind of information. But it would be neat to know how many miles per hour. The numbers I've heard are in the 70 to 72 mile an hour range. When they at the very fastest part of the track, which is, I believe, when they head into turn number 3, because they've got just a little bit more backstretch length than they do front stretch length on this track. But still pretty impressive. And then to have, try and make decisions and kind of figure out where you want to go and plot a course, and who do I got to get around, and how am I going to get around them, and all these, you're just bombarded with all of this sensation when you're inside one of these things. It just amazes me that they can get, have awareness of what their situation is, and make plans to change it. It's always been really impressive to me how these guys do it.
Yeah, you know, Steve, I had the opportunity, this was many years ago, to do a little ride-along on what we call these Pro Late models now, and I can tell you what, I think one lap was enough for me. I think that's maybe all I could handle, but really exciting to be able to come out and at least watch them. I don't want to ride passenger seat, but really excited to watch them.
I think I remember that. Was that a blue car?
I think so.
Yes. Was Kevin Hamlin driving it?
He might have been. I remember I was wearing my Sonics jacket. I was so excited about my Seattle Supersonics jacket. And
there you go.
Yeah, it was. I had a rough night the rest of the night, I think.
Kevin Hamlin, for those who know the name, and if you are a regular viewer of this show, you probably do, but Kevin Hamlin currently the spotter for Alex Bowman in the NASCAR Cup Series, who won at Dover International Raceway last week. So, Kevin, we hope you're watching this, and continued success, my friend. You've certainly earned it, and I'm glad things are going well for you. All right, let's get back to what's going on here at Evergreen Speedway. Good shot, again, of the number 25, the Earhart Sales Chevrolet of Andrew Link. And we go back to the 91 D's Motorsports entry, and the Bennett Design and Construction. There he is right there. We've been kind of talking about this guy all night long, and that is Greg Bennett. And meanwhile, Name Lang, as the laps are winding down, we'll have 10 to go when the name comes across the line next time. But these can go by pretty quick when there's a lot of, they get spaced out and keep the cautions under check. But been quite an event for Name Lang in the 18.
And you kind of wonder if the 91 car there of Rob Dees, it looked like he was getting out of the way to allow Greg Bennett to be able to go through, but you wonder if that hindered his ability to be able to keep pace with the 18 of Name Lang, as they're just now, like you said, at this point, 10 laps remaining. There's the 7 of Dawson Cox coming into turn number 3. And Dawson Cox is going to have to do the same thing, try and get around the 91 of Rob Dees, trying to keep pace with the 98 of Greg Bennett, but definitely running into some lap traffic issues, trying to be able to keep up with that 18 of Name Lang that's been so impressive.
Greg and his team had spent a couple of nights prior to this event trying out some different suspension components on that 98 car, and they think they may have finally hit on something that has made this thing go up front. He started off the season, kind of as he typically does. He starts off real fast. We get to a race or two, and then he starts to kind of creep back. And they've really put an emphasis on finding out why they've been creeping back, I should say. And they've been trying a bunch of different things on that 98 car. And like I was telling you at the beginning of this race, one of these nights, and I hope it's soon, because they really could benefit from a win, and it would be so cool to see that happen. But always experimenting, and all these teams do it as well. I mean, they're always thinking, how can I get this thing to go faster? I make the comment a lot, man, if he only had 5 more horsepower, he'd be around these guys. Well, there's a lot of things they can do other than just engine size and horsepower numbers that make them go fast, handle better, which gives them more confidence, and more confidence is more speed.
Absolutely. All right, so with 5 laps to go, we'll give you the top 5, the 18 of Name Lang, the 98 of Greg Bennett, the 7D of Dawson Cox, the 12C of Chad Fitzpatrick, and the 9K of Caden Holm, your top 5 with now 4 laps remaining.
And you see Chad Fitzpatrick taking a look underneath. I believe it's 91 of Rob Dees. Yep, it is. And he will continue to go forward. Our winner of our last Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Model race. But it's winding down. We're going to have 2 laps to go when Namath comes across next time. Wrap up our feature for the Speedway Chevrolet Pro Late Models here on a beautiful Sunday night at Evergreen Speedway.
Yeah, it's so great to see almost still a little bit of sunshine out there for the final main event. And as we watch the 78 there of Haley Constance right behind the 9 of Caden Holm. So great to see Haley Constance still kind of hanging on right there in 6, right behind the 9 of Caden Holm. But 2 laps to go now, so the next time by is going to be the white flag for Name Lang, and now there it is, the white flag for Name Lang.
All right, as he takes it across the start-finish line, and there he is right there. That's how fast that guy was. Is Name Lang out of for another NASCAR winner sticker on the door sill of the number 18 car, driven by Name Lang, sponsored by Lang's Auto Sports and J&R Truck Rentals. And Greg Bennett finishing second, and we will bring them up to our Angel of the Winds platform here and get their thoughts about how the race went. And again, congratulations to all the competitors. Great run, I think, by the 9 of Caden Holm and the 78 of Haley Constance. Really were impressive in this one. Okay, let's go down and hear what our top 3 have to say at the Angel of the Winds platform.
Yeah, that was fun. You know, I can't thank Mark Weston enough for getting that car back to where it was. You know, we struggled that last race, and I knew we had to fix some stuff, and we got it back to where it needs to be, and I can't thank my guys enough.
Yeah, that thing just looked like it was so smooth.
Yeah, it was didn't fade off at all, and I was just trying to keep a good pace in front of Greg, and you know, I just didn't want to burn it down too bad. You never know how many yellows are going to come out at the end.
True. And real quick before we let you go, talk about who's helping you out.
Yeah, it's J&R Truck Rentals for sure, J&R Motorsports, Tracy DeYoung Inc., and Lang Auto Sports.
Boy, what a show though, huh?
Yeah. We've been blowing out suspension parts on the last couple of races. So we changed things around, and we're still trying to dial it in. But Name is just so darn smooth. It's tough to catch him.
And Bennett Design and Construction on your car. Anyone else we need to thank?
My whole crew. Doug, my son, is my crew chief. He call him the mad scientist. He knows everything about this car. John, Nate, Rob, and Highway Auto Supply as well. All those guys support me. I really appreciate it.
Long time no see, pal. How you been?
Pretty good. That was a long race, man. I won't lie, I'm tired. And the car, I think I overdrove it there at the beginning. I was a little irritated at the start. By the time I calmed out, I think I wore the car out. It was a good car. I got to thank everybody that helped me get it here. Dave Riddell, John Bender, my dad Steve Cox, Travis Woodward, Josh Patterson, and I'm sure I'm missing people. Everybody helped throughout the day, and I really appreciate it. And I got to thank my sponsors, Crown Distributing and Busch Light.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Well done, good job, and we look forward to your next appearance here on Home Track Heroes. We got about a minute and a half before we got to get out of here. Want to remind you, coming up next Sunday on Home Track Heroes here, the Granite Construction Sprint Cars will be in action, the Northwest Focus Midgets, and several other divisions. And also, make your plans now. If you're going to be around the area, get on to evergreenspeedway.com. Get your tickets for the huge Memorial Day weekend coming up. May 29th and 30th, we'll have our annual truck demo and fireworks show on the 30th, a regular NASCAR program on the 29th. But if you're staying in town, Evergreen Speedway is a great place to come.
Yeah, I think I'm really looking forward to Memorial Day weekend. It's going to be so much fun to have so much excitement out here on the 29th and 30th. But like you said, for next Sunday's show, those wing sprint cars,
Yeah.
I'm awful excited to see those.
Yep, it's going to be a blast. Like I said, get on to evergreenspeedway.com. Check out all of the races that we have coming up all the way through 2021. We also want to take a minute and thank Busch Beer, IBEW, NECA, Speedway Chevrolet, APC Auto Spa, Sparkle Wash, and Tire Pros for sponsoring our show tonight. Also to the class sponsors, Speedway Chevrolet, Buzz Inn Steakhouse, Interstate Batteries, BECU. It's just so great to have all these people with us. We'll be back next Sunday right here. He is Greg Pyland. I'm Steve Mortland. Good job tonight, and we will see you next time here. Home Track Heroes from Evergreen Speedway here on CW11. Thanks for being a part of it.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.